So on day 122, so yesterday, day 121, we got off at Height of Lands here in Maine with the idea of walking southbound. But you go a pretty big descent and you hit a river that should have been just a stream to cross. But as we were hiking down, we met a hiker coming back, was backtracking, saying she got to the stream and decided it was not passable. So after all the rain, we went back to the van trying to debate what to do and concluded, yeah, let's just take another day off and let the water subside. So that's what we did. So that was day 121, I think. Now we're at day 122, I think. I have to check the days. They're starting to run together. And so we went back to Height of Lands, so now we're hiking north, which has smaller streams than hiking south, with the idea being that tomorrow we can hike south and cross that stream, and by then it'll be way down. So anyways, that's the plan. Hiking up should be an easy day. It's very cool. It's like 60 degrees. Beautiful day though. All right, in my brain I realized it is day 123, not 122. So yeah. So like I said, the days are starting to run together. Time is a weird thing out here on the trail after a while. Like, it feels like a lifetime ago we were down in Georgia. Man, what a gorgeous day. Couldn't ask for better. We've had some unfortunate weather, but there are many days that have been like this too, so kind of evens out. It's a great day. Let's see what today has in store for us. So one of the things about today is testing my knee. And these boards are bad. The last full hike I did before we zeroed out for the rains from the storm, my knee was a problem. And feels great now. So hopefully it was just something that day, not a new thing that's going to come up again. We won't know the full test until we do a long descent. There's this old saying on the AT, says never quit on a bad day. You feel like quitting. But the reality is on a day like today, you wouldn't feel like quitting, most likely. So it's kind of funny. And in a way it makes sense, it's like just because things are going bad in the weather and stuff like that, that's temporary. Oh, yay. Mud. My understanding is from a couple other hikers that we talked to is that we're going to be running into some pretty wet areas, including a section with bog boards that are all underwater, which is fine. We're used to it. Part of the trail. I don't know how long I can keep my feet relatively dry. It's getting more and more difficult. If I can balance on this. Whew. Made it. Because I know at some point it won't work. We'll just have to get our feet wet. But I prolong it. Try not to get wet. Most of the bog boards and stuff are pretty old. This one's got a big nail sticking out of it. This one's pretty much gone. But I'm grateful that it's a lot drier than it was. Let's see, all the water's gone from here. All right, so much for that. that water is surprisingly cold. Well, the good news about that, getting your feet wet, is it's a bit liberating. You don't have to worry about trying to not get your feet wet. You can just splash through the mud now. Don't matter anymore. Yeah. There are still some areas you got to be kind of careful about where if you step into the mud, you can do what's called post holing and sink down to your knees. The negative about that, other than just getting mud up to your knees, is that when you try to pull your feet out, sometimes your shoe stays. And I don't want to have to dig my shoes out of that, so that would be bad. I love the camera on this Samsung S24 Ultra. But the one thing it keeps doing, which bugs me, and I just noticed it, was the stabilization, which you need if you video as you're walking, like I'm doing now. The video stabilization keeps resetting to off, and then this makes it hard to watch video. So apologies, I just reset it again to on. I don't know why it keeps going back to a default off setting. Yeah. So somewhere here is a trail. All right, we're here at Long Pond. Pretty big pond. Telephone poles. That is interesting. Growing up, they were telephone poles, but I don't think these carry telephone lines at all. It's just power lines. It's probably going to become more common in the future that, but do people still call them telephone poles? Back into the forest. All right, just checking in now. We've gotten in about 6 miles and 1,500 feet of climbing up and down. My knee is doing great. It doesn't feel painful at all. So I think we can just say it was a one-day thing for me. Now, Buzz, on the other hand, he struggled a little bit with his knee today. He's doing better with some ibuprofen in him, and he's marching on. But it's a concern, because his knee doesn't seem to be getting much better, despite his icing and resting and compression and everything else. So, yeah, we'll keep monitoring it and seeing how it goes. We're hitting so many of these. It's been almost constant trying to decide how to get through. And it's like, reminds me of like a challenge in a video game, because some of these logs move, some will just sink if you step on them. And you got to kind of make your decision as to what you're going to do. So what I'm doing now is trying to find where the support is, because otherwise you sink way down. But there are some places where you can hear a board. or a rock. Ugh. Oh well, give it a shot. Alright, the word of the day is swamp. It's just getting old, man. I've been struggling with this. We also hit one that was covered in green slime and ended up having to step down into it, and yeah, it smells like swamp ass, like a wet fart. It's bad. So my shoes probably smell bad now. I got to wash them in some clean water. But yeah, this is fun, right? So there's a board or a rock. There. See, if you don't have poles, it's just another thing you're doing out without. This would be difficult. Not a complaint, but just a note that the number of blowdowns that we have been having to deal with is quite a lot. It's like, I don't think they have the people up here to help take care of the trails like some other areas. And not complaining, they're volunteers, but just pointing it out, you know, the state of the bog boards are really sad. And there's so many blowdowns that you have to climb over or around. So, yeah, we'll live, but just noting it. All right, we hit Chandler Stream. The only stream we were worried about maybe would be harder to cross, but it's a trickle. All right, just walking along, and now we pop onto this viewpoint. Pretty cool. All right, we're down to less than a half mile to go before we meet up with the van at, well, it's like Route 4, something like that. Anyways, yeah, so today's been, you know, nothing real crazy or interesting. A lot of swamps, a lot of mud. I was able to, I had been up to my knees in at least one of the mud things. So I was able to find a nice little stream of clear water to wash all the mud off my pant legs and shoes. So now I'm spending the last mile trying to not get any more mud on it, which is a little challenging. Anyways, you know, there wasn't much else. We had a couple of views, no big deal. Yeah, that was a good day. I think the important takeaway for me was, you know, my knee doesn't hurt. It feels like it never had a problem. So, yeah, whatever caused whatever it was is not happening now. So I'm good. Buzz is doing better. He's still having issues with his knee, but he's finding that if he takes ibuprofen, as long as the ibuprofen is working, he's okay to go. So let's hope that gets better. All right, this is our last stream crossing, and it's like it should be easy, I think. Trying to, again, not get my shoes messed up.